All right, welcome to On Tap, episode 16. Because we kind of we're in a weird place right now with numbers.
Well, we already have trouble with counting as it is.
Well, that's true, but we
When you
kind
have
of
to,
skipped.
Like, run out of fingers. Like, what do you do at that point?
We skipped 13 because let's be honest, that's just not
Actually, I
right.
got a good story for that. Randall Roberts, that used to help Davey Hatchell, used to race at Myrtle Beach.
Mm-hmm.
He had, I think he was telling the story on his behalf. Yeah, because he had two nubs, like his index finger and his middle finger on his left hand, I believe, were two nubs. So he told us the story one time at Myrtle Beach back in the day, where he said that the flagman would used to just point to a corner, like turn two or whatever, or like just one to go, not pointing if you're coming back to start on the front straightaway. He said, but when he pointed to turn two, like you can fire off in turn two. He said, but anyhow, he said, I see the flagman, apparently the guy behind me, we're all single file. He said, I just put out two. He said, so then we did whatever. He said, in the very next lap, coming off of two, he said, I fired off. At the end of the race, he said, the guy comes up to me and said, man, you said two to go. He said, you dumbass, two nubs equals one. That means we were going that time. I was like, oh, that's pretty good, Randall. Yeah.
Where were we?
That was funny, Steve.
I didn't even know where we were going there, but
numbers, counting.
Oh yeah, that's right. So episode
or anything at all. Comprehend.
Nothing right now. Episode 16 is happening because it technically could be episode 17 or could be episode 18.
Well, 15 because we didn't count the number that we all know.
But
David Rogers.
Yeah, David Rogers. He's been a solid supporter. He does a good job on his social media side.
He texted me last Friday. Said we're gonna make it. I'm like, what? You don't say. And he didn't have mechanical failures. That was good.
Car looks good too. But no, so we're diving into a new episode. I lost Brian there for just a few minutes, and I went spaced out when he was talking about the nub thing.
It's late. Happens.
It's not late. It's only, in my world, it's late.
Did you power nap today or not?
No, yes, I did actually. Okay. But anyways, so we're diving in. We're going to talk about Palmetto Clash a little bit. We're going to talk about we're going to talk about racing in general. We've got possibly a new interview, possibly a second interview. Not sure yet, but we definitely have one new one that we're going to get into. But Palmetto Clash coming to an end this week or last race, and I think what we did there is working. I think. People understanding what it means is probably the biggest
we
hurdle
probably
we
should
got.
put some signage at the track, like in the tech shed in the bathrooms, like we used to do with the NASCAR stuff. I think that would be beneficial. But like I said, it works, but nothing really changed for the first half. Now's where it changes.
Yeah.
And now we shift the focus to, does this actually work?
So explain where we're at. You and I talked about. Explain what the website looks like versus where we're at versus who's in it.
Well, the website, if you go to the points on there, you'll be directed to My Race Pass, which My Race Pass is going to be overall, which for the most part, it's accurate to this point, but it's going to start getting weird after. It's like an overall deal. Like sometimes you see where they say that if the NASCAR point structure was like the old Winston Cup point structure, this is what it would look like. Well, in our scenario here, you can see that at all times on My Race Pass. But we will also be making some posts on what the Palmetto Clash update is as well, because in each division, late models, Chargers, Super Trucks, and Mini Stocks, which were our four divisions in NASCAR, we want to do something different for them guys, because they were the only people that was benefiting from the NASCAR side. The Limiteds, the Street Stocks, Thunder, Lightning, Legends, Bandos were not. So this year, the Palmetto Clash we brought in, and them four divisions, we broke your season up into thirds. You just ended your first third, and the top five guys in points, they are already transfers to the round 3, and now everything resets. The 5 guys that transferred from round 1 will not be getting points at all outside of bonus points for showing up in round 2, and then everybody kind of resets, and your seeding. So whoever was the overall leader in round 1, he's the highest seed,
right.
And then so forth on down, and then bonus points on top of that. But yeah, we got it right here in front of us. Late models advancing from round 1 was Cody Kelly. He's your first seed. Matt Cox, Casey Kelly, Truett Miranda, and Jamie Griffin. In Chargers, we had Ricky Locklear Jr., of course, Michael Grooms, Wayne Locklear, Connor Lee, and Brian Smith, which he's very excited about that.
Yeah.
Super Truck, Willie Granger, Brian Doc Hicks, J.R. Moore, Adam Fulford, and Jim Crackhill. And in Mini Stocks, Brandon Johnson, Ryan Moore, Adam Fulford Jr., Kevin Jackson, and Matt Carter. Matt Carter never flashy, but he's a big supporter there every week.
Yep. And I think so to that, not saying any of them should stop coming because, again, the bonus points is going to help. But, man, how cool is it to know that after the first half of the season, I have a shot at the championship? Yep. That was our idea the entire time, is that when the first half is over, like when it's said and done, I'm no longer like, if I have from here on out.
Chargers, for instance. I mean, Ricky's won every one of them.
Oh yeah,
he's carrying extra weight,
and he's only a point.
Yeah, so once it resets, he's only going to be 1 point ahead of Michael Grooms. Now, then you factor in the bonus points. So Ricky's been at every one. I think Michael might have missed one, so Michael's given up 2 there. But if Ricky misses one in the second round, and Michael's there, that offsets. He gets just back closer, if not take the lead. So if it was a traditional format,
traditional format,
Michael would have been probably, 40, 50 points
back?
back?
Yeah, for sure.
But now it's going to reset. He's right back in the hunt.
Yep. That's my favorite part. Like, again, I'm not 100% sure what it means to you and I when it comes to the racetrack side, because for them to say, like, I don't have to go, or I can miss a race here and there, that's what we wanted.
Well, I think we're fortunate enough where, like, our diehard supporters that race with us week in, week out, they also understand the car count side of it, and where we've been struggling. And they also understand that there's only been probably 3 to 4 people in every division that's been there every single week. So this would entice somebody to come new in the second half, second, third, and then everybody's on a level playing field. And hopefully at the end of the year, when they all start checking out, worried about big races, no, they're all racing.
Yep. No, I'm excited about what the Palmetto Clash looks like, how it kind of plays itself out. I love some Ricky Locklear Jr. I really think that he's put the work in. Like everyone says, we got to check this, check that.
Well, we do got to touch on it. If people's not looking at the website, late models. Let me make sure I don't get this wrong. Late models, if you win 3 straight, you have to start no better than 5th on that next race, because you have longer laps. Like, you have more laps to make up for it. So that's why we factor that in. Legends and Bandos, if you win 3 straight, you start no better than 5th, because you can't put 25 pounds on the right side of a Legend and Bando. It gets weird. But every other division, if you win 3 straight, you put 25 pounds overall and on the right side. And I think right now, which people may or may not know, that Ricky's already carrying 50 pounds on the right side.
Yep.
And it checks out. Like, I even glanced over it. It's on there.
Yep.
And he just won twins this past week, and we obviously couldn't make him do that, but we did the invert for race 2. But that's an additional 50. So he's going to be 100 pounds heavy overall and 100 pounds heavy on the right side.
Right.
At some point, which he's dialed in, but it's going to start affecting him.
Oh, yeah. Yep. But what I was getting at is just the idea that, man, I would love for, like I said, Ricky puts the work in, but to what we're talking about is that if he keeps winning, you get to the end of the year, what's the point of me being here? But if you get to the end of the year and he's good, but I mean, we can all have a bad day. We can all have, broken part, things happen. But to have Michael Grooms, to have Wayne, to have Connor, right there, like super close, that when it's all said and done, if he had a great year, the last 3 races, I got a shot at the championship.
Well, look at if he runs all around too. I mean, hypothetical, and this is also by the rules, and he wins through. By August 2nd race, he might be carrying 150 pounds. Yeah. So August 2nd race, he's going to be at a disadvantage.
And at some point, if you can't beat him at 200 pounds heavy, I don't know what to tell you.
Something.
Yeah, we got to figure something out. So,
I mean, and people say, like, he needs to move up, which maybe, but he moved up to limiteds, and he's also winning a limiteds. The guy's got it figured out.
It puts the work in, man. I'm telling you, I've said that to my kids all the time. Like, you got to put the work in. If you don't put the work in, it ain't gonna work. Yep. So, no, like I said, we want to see him.
How about a dirt late model, especially in the vintage? That's pretty cool to see.
I drove. What was it that time?
I remember Mariotti's
that dirt mod deal at Myrtle. Mariotti.
Yeah.
He brought that dirt mod, and we had to drive it, and I was like, this is too much for me. But, like, Ricky had a hand out the window again, because that's what he does. And I was like...
Them things are wild, man. I remember Charles brought one when Michael Elliott drove for Charles Todd to the beach. I was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. He said, Michael said it wouldn't turn over 5,000 RPM. So, like, just make sure it turns over 5,000. I can look out on the recall, and I can tell Michael, like, I don't know what was going on. When I finally gunned it off of turn 2, after one lap of just, like, filling it out, it turned 5,000 within, like, 2 car lanes off the exit. It's going to turn over 5,000 RPMs. But then, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, like I said, it was
when
interesting.
I saw that 8,300, I said, let me back it down.
Too much. Yeah, too much.
I'm going to blow the man's motor up.
But, no, so Palmetto Clash came to an end. I think that's for all divisions, right? Like, everybody's now, like, into...
them 4. That's the only ones.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, Palmetto Clash and the top 4 divisions are now moving on. Starting June 7th, we'll have a regroup, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, no, it's good for first half of the year. I think obviously car count I'm not
Chargers were good, 15.
It was good. Yep. But
maybe a $5 admission help fans.
Yeah, I thought so.
Some new faces we heard.
Yeah,
and we saw.
yeah. Mom said that they were coming in groups, which was nice. So instead of like one person showing up at $20, 5 people were showing up at $5, which
and they didn't complain about our $30 cheeseburgers. I'm kidding. Yeah. We did not do that.
It will be next
joke. Ha, ha, ha.
next race. Yeah. But no, I think I mean the unfortunate part right now is like, and you and I have done this for a long time, but we're just nonstop having to reinvent the wheel to try to keep this alive and keep it strong and successful. But I think the $5 deal was good. I think we can kind of tweak on it a little bit where we make it still $5, but make it like a family pack deal. So it's like, all right, if you want to come with 5 people, it's
maybe
$20.
It's like the old Travis Tritt thing, like the first X amount is this price, and then it gets, but that's
Did you say Travis Tritt?
Yeah, remember we had to, when Bob did the Travis Tritt
yeah.
concert, the first 100 tickets that got sold was at a cheaper fee.
Yeah.
And then it got more and more, which kind of is weird.
Yeah.
Because like if you, at the end of the day, you want to get the very last ticket you possibly can, but then they had to pay like an arm and leg more.
Yeah. The one thing I'll tell you is like, so that definitely is like all of these conversations will stick for our regular races. We get to the big races where we're like struggling to fit people in anyways, like Cars Tour.
So the Travis Tritt concept's good for off season. Off season, when like the October, like them down months, you need to keep bringing in some revenue. So that's in Bob's world, which it did make sense. I think it was after like a May when we had a break in April because we were focused on the fair and no racing the first year. It did bring in some money there because like the bulk of people say, I got to get my ticket right now. It's a cheaper fee. Right. And then when they just start straggling in. But that first wave that came in was good.
Yep. But I'm saying, like, when we get to the car store, we can't do $5 because like the cost of a car store event. So like we want people to get comfortable with a certain amount of entry fee. But when we get to our special events, like I guess what I'm asking is everyone not to be like, oh, I'm always paying $5 to get in, and now all of a sudden I got to pay $25. Like so, like it's just as a business, we have a lot of moving parts.
Keywords, business. That's what I got to understand.
Yeah.
It is a business.
Yeah. But no, so everything's good. Just Palmetto Clash Points came to an end. A lot of cool stuff coming up. We're going to talk about Anderson. I thought was pretty cool. Their race with the Marty Ward event.
Gone viral.
Yes, gone viral. But we'll get into that here shortly as we talk about Dale and his cool announcement with that Budweiser car. So we're going to take a quick break from segment 1, and we're going to move to segment 2. So we appreciate you guys joining us here on Tap.
Recorded.
All right, we're back on Tap. We had a chance last week. We missed the opportunity to put it out. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but
we had $5 admission. We got to get ready for.
Oh yeah,
weird.
We had a lot going
prepared.
on. But we had a chance to talk to Brandon Johnson, and he had his piece when it comes to what he had going on with his T-shirt sales and some stuff.
He made time for us because he's been trying to get all these shirts ready and prepared. He's got another wave coming in.
So we're going to take a minute to go to last week's interview with some Brandon Johnson. So stay tuned and enjoy this interview with Brandon Johnson on Tap. All right, welcome back to On Tap. We mentioned that we're going to have a guest. Super excited to have this week's mini stock winner, or no, second place, Kevin Jackson won.
Yep.
But this week's winner overall in life. Decided to kind of take on a role, and we had a little thing on the social media that proved it, and had his T-shirts made. Kind of not 100% sure where it came from.
It paid for his racing this past weekend.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. But we'll get to all that. But right now, we just want to welcome in Brandon Johnson. Brandon, thanks for joining us here on Tap.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, wait, is that Brandon? I didn't hear a baby.
No, yeah, no. He's probably got his Kleenex somewhere in there. He's got his Kleenex ready for any.
Nice.
He's just on point. He's just got it like in his pocket, just ready to go.
It's great.
But But like we talked about, I said this on Tap a couple weeks ago. It's like I don't 100% know where it came from, but the person, and we won't even say names. We all know who it is, but we won't say names. That made the comment, if anything, played out for both of us. I think it's made a good storyline, and for you, you had a chance to make some really cool T-shirts. And I'm telling you, so you said you sold out, and now where are we at now for T-shirt sales?
I just ordered 100 more of them. I don't want to have too many of them. I have multiple people, probably 150 people, come up to me and ask for one. I didn't take any money in advance. I don't want to owe anybody any money. So I just told them, next race I'll have them, or email me or whatever, and I'll send them to you, And so I ordered 100. So we sold 30. We ordered 100. Once we sell those, we'll sell another 100. The sky's kind of the limit, man. As many as we can sell, we'll sell them. We're going to set them up in the back of the race trailer, and
That's right.
sell as many as we can. I think
that's
it's
awesome.
Great.
Well, and I think, and again, I don't know where the name came from. I know where the name came from, but I don't directly know how it got there. But I will say that you've done a good job over the last years of mini stock racing and being up front constantly. And this year has really proven that you've put the work in to the point where you're up front constantly. You had that week where we made you run 50 pounds, and I know probably not a fan of that. And but on our end, racetrack wise, we got to try to do things to keep it fair, where we have as many winners as we possibly can. Because the more times that we'd love to see you win every week, but at the same time as a racetrack, for us, we need to have a little bit of variety. So it's got to be something. Toted 50 pounds, still came up just short, but still dragging a trailer behind you, almost pulled it off. And then this week went against Kevin Jackson. It doesn't matter what you got on you. Kevin Jackson, week by week, can be just as competitive as anybody. He comes with his old car, his new car. He pulls one out of the woods. Kevin Jackson's sporty, so for him to beat you is not. There's nothing to laugh at there. But you've been great for the last couple of years, so congratulations on all that.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't easy at first. We ran in the back for the first season or so. And, we obviously picked up a few sponsors. With the sponsors came a lot of knowledge and advice. The people that backing us up are definitely helping us. We bought a new car. We wrecked the first one a few times. We bought another new car. I had Brandon Clemens help me set it up. He actually came to the racetrack and raced with us one night. Me and him were running 1 and 2, and he actually got flipped over on the backstretch, which was pretty unfortunate. He's there to help me, and then his car gets destroyed. But he gave me the setup on it, and like Robert Elliott and Jimmy Polk and Jamie and everybody, we're working on it, and we finally got it to where it needs to be. And we definitely have a very competitive piece. It's just working on it, man, race by race, and it takes time. My racecraft's getting better. And, you race against people like Kevin Jackson. I think we raced 75% of the race side by side. And, to be able to stay cool and keep calm and, keep it off of him and keep it out the wall. And, it's definitely fun. I love the competition that we have at Florence. We're missing a few runners this year.
Yeah, the mini stock class Brian and I have talked about might be the class of the field when it comes to what we've got. Late model stock, we've talked about car count in general is down. But, man, every single week the mini stocks show up. And when the mini stocks show up, they show up where top 10 could win at any time. Mm-hmm. Shane Briggs has come out of nowhere. He started off kind of new to the whole series and to the sport a couple years ago, and now he's competitive enough to be up front.
And even like Fulford's been having some pace at the end of the runs here lately. Yep.
Junior's been good. So, no, it's a heck of a field, and it's so for those that are watching, the mini stock class actually is probably the most difficult to be competitive in, and forget I'll say the driving side too, because the driving side, you got to drive the snot out of those things.
Yeah, you got half the contact patch per each corner.
But there's so many moving parts when it comes to Mustang, Toyota, and all the motor combinations, where late model stocks, we've at least got 604, Senior, Harrington, whatever. It feels like I look at the rule book occasionally on the mini stock side, I'm like,
you close it right back up.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck this is.
Good luck, Mike.
Yep. So you're doing a great job against a lot of strong competitors in a great division. What do you think the thing that really kind of changed when, like you were saying a minute ago, when you were running towards the back to why you're running up front now?
A lot of it was with the motors. I don't know if a lot of people know, but it takes $15,000 to buy a competitive mini stock engine. Um, and I didn't really have those funds, to pay for that. And then I got some sponsors, and we were able to get a better engine. And we got a better car, and like I say, we got some advice on shocks and setup. We were running like 55% wedge in it, and then we found out that that's too much. It went down to 42%. I run my car at like 42% cross. I tell people that, and they just look at me like I'm crazy, but you got to have the cross down, because the car has to rotate around the corner. You have to keep up your momentum. It's just things we've learned along the way. Obviously, I would imagine I've gotten better as a driver. Um, it's a
If you're
learning
driving it
experience.
at 42% cross, you're a hell of a driver. And that's what I've said about like when
carrying 50 pounds too.
Yeah.
I mean, the percentages had to be way off.
Yeah, but I can tell you, like, watch it. Sorry, go ahead.
At the beginning of the season, they added 25 pounds to me. I actually weighed 2,050 pounds, which has been the track rule for several years, ever since I've been there. And, they added 25 pounds at the beginning of the season. So now the minimum is 2,075. And then they added that additional 50 pounds. So we were technically 75 pounds heavier
Heavier than usual. Yep. Yeah, like I said, I've said that about mini stocks in general. I've driven a lot of stuff. I just don't know if I could. I mean, because you're. So I'll ask you a question, Brandon. Is when you're driving it, like, so in your late model stock, and like, I'm only driven them a handful of times, but like everything is super smooth. Like, just turn real easy here, off the gas, like barely touch brake, get back in the gas, like rotate the center, rotate the car over. In the mini stock, it looks like, from the outside looking in, it looks like all you do is drive the dog snot out of that thing when you get in from start to finish.
Yeah, I actually had a chance to drive Doc Hicks's truck before the season started. And I made like 2 laps, and I was like, man, this is totally different. You have to like baby the throttle in those things. I mean, that's pretty comparable to a late model stock. You have to baby the throttle. You have to let off the gas way before you get to the corner. And, you got the power steering, so you got to be careful not to turn it too hard. And with the mini stock, I drive that thing all the way into the corner. And it kind of kicks sideways most of the time. You got to kind of fight the wheel back and forth a little bit. And, you're on the brakes for a very short amount of time, and, you're right back on the gas. With the mini stock, typically I can just, mat it to the floor. It's not really any rolling into the pedal. I would say 85% of the time you're wide open. Just giving it all a shot.
Yeah, and so like it's a lot like
Legends of
legend
Bandolera,
cars. That's what I was getting ready to say.
I think it was back at Myrtle Beach. I mean, we were driving everything left and right. But Adam Fulford asked me one time, hop in that mini stock and see what you think. I said, dude, I wouldn't even know where to begin to drive that mini stock. I said, because you guys driving way deeper than I've ever driven into a corner, and you guys
back
are
in the gas.
Yeah, and it hard, and I'll be easing down. Like, geez, yeah, it's a whole different mentality when it comes to the racecraft.
So what is your plans, Brandon? Stay in mini stocks, or you maybe we'll flip. Doc will get out. He's tired halfway through the race.
When are we going to move up a size in diapers, man? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I have a truck. We bought a truck, and Jimmy Polk's actually been going through my motor. They dynoed it, and it checked out. Everything's good with the motor. We just have to do some work to the truck. I was going to retire from mini stocks this year. I was trying to win the championship and go out on top. But I'll be honest with you, man, all the trash talk that I'm getting just kind of inspires me to just continue with the mini stock. I feel like if I just quit racing, I'm giving it giving them what they want. And in this situation, I don't want to give them anything.
No,
and back to Steve's point, I mean, the competition in the mini stocks is probably better than any other field we got.
For sure. And you're going to get the car count's always there. And like I said, to the trash talking, trying to see how to say this politely, but
say it.
No, I don't want
to
say like.
Just go. Take a swig of beer and say it. Come on now.
It's unnecessary, I guess, is what I was getting at, because
that's what we want to
hear. If the person that is trash talking has shown up once in your worst case scenario, so I was kind of hopeful that the person that wanted to trash talk would show up last week when we could go mano y mano and see what we really got. Again, I think Kevin Jackson probably would still beat both of you. You know what I mean? Like, just there's certain days that everyone's better than the other.
Yeah,
but
that particular night hit that electrical issue. That's right.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think there's just good cars. When I brought it up the first time, I just did not like that we show up one time, we win one race, and all of a sudden we're a hero. Yeah. It was a matter of, well, not even a hero. It was that we just decided that we wanted to start saying stuff when it really had no relevance to anything that was going on. But again, I go back to what I said before. It's played out for both of us. It's created good content for social media, and you've sold a shit ton of T-shirts. So if they want to keep running their mouths and we all win, then it's a win for everybody.
I love the text message you got. I'll be back. Well, please. Yeah. That's what we want. We want car counts. Please come back.
My favorite part was he said, I beat your boy's ass. I'm like, I have no boys at the racetrack. The only boy I have is my son, and even then he gets disqualified before someone else. So we'll disqualify my son first. But anyways, I'm glad that it's you've taken on the role of enjoying it. I'm glad you've taken on understanding that it's all fun, right? Like, I mean, this racing sport is supposed to be enjoyable for all of us. So I hope you continue that, calm, cool, and collected. If the person we're speaking of shows up, that we don't go out there and neither of us wreck each other. It's all about trying to beat each other.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, man, I love it. I think it's great. They obviously don't like me. They don't like the fact that I won 4 in a row, which has been done before. I'm not the only person who's ever won 4 races in a row, but they don't like it. They don't want to see me win. They say it's lonely on the top, and I've learned that that's true. I'm just kind of taking what they're doing as fuel, man, to just make me be a little bit better and a little bit more competitive every week. And like I said, they did me a favor. I've sold some T-shirts. I've made enough money for the next race. So
anytime you can turn it into revenue, that's a good thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I said it's cool. Like I said, it's all fun. Again, that's what Brian and I've talked about. This whole sport's supposed to be fun. We're not supposed to be mad at each other. We're supposed to go there, and 99% of people would walk in, and if you had a flat tire on your trailer and you were pulling in, they would change it for you. But there's that 0.1% that wants to just kind of piss in the wind and get in their face. But
it's crazy how it's that same 1% is the one that's always go to social media. Just make it look 10 times worse than what it not even is, but they make it like it's something when it's nothing.
I still don't even. Again, I don't know where it came from. That's like where my issue on that. Like when I started it, is that the crybaby thing again. Brandon has embraced it, which is great.
I think he's thankful for it now.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't even know where it came from. When he said it, I was like, what are we talking about? Like, where did this just come from?
Right.
But anyways, like I said, I'll digress because I get frustrated. So Brandon, on our side, it's hard because to run a racetrack, you see the car counts lately, how hard it is to just keep the doors open every day and to see people get in there and really kind of bash the sport in that way. Or try to, anyways. Just frustrating on our end, but again, I'm glad it's worked out for you. I know it's going to keep working out for you because, like I said, the minute that you put those T-shirts out, I had text messages. Can you please put in? I need a large. I need 2 extra large. I'm like, I'll let them know.
I think you were rushing down to the pits. I got to go buy one of them T-shirts.
They were about to be staff shirts.
Yeah, right.
We were just going to have the entire staff in crybaby shirts.
People are loving it, man. It's crazy,
Well,
I think
we'll
it's
see.
hilarious.
Like I said, we'll see how far it goes. Because again, don't want to stretch it too far where people get hurt or we start tearing stuff up over it. I think I know he's watching because otherwise he wouldn't have text messaged me the other day.
Right. We won't viewers.
I will say that if you want to come race and you want to go head to head, that's great. But beat Brandon 1 for 1. Brandon, I'll tell you this also just from Brian will be race directing, but I'll tell you this right now. We want to see you win. We want to see whoever win. It could be the person we're speaking on, as long as you beat them square and it's not wreck each other over it. It doesn't need to be something that we tear cars up and we spend a bunch of money. I'd like to see the race 1 for 1 with no issues.
Yeah, I'd like to see that myself. I'd definitely like to get another shot at it. On a fair race. I don't want to give anybody 10 car lengths. That's for sure.
Yeah.
If he wants to come back, that's fine. We'll run it again. If he doesn't want to come back, if he's got it on jack stands and he's trying to sell it, I understand that too.
So you watched the interview. You watched the interview also then.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we got 2 subscribers to Ultra Broadcast. Nice.
And yeah, everybody's.
Love it.
That's why I texted Brian, Brandon, when I got the text the first time. I said somebody watches on tap.
Yes.
That's right.
So now, congratulations, Brandon, again on a successful year.
But I will say, like, I'm embracing it too, because even like what happened with him and Kevin this past weekend, it was hard racing. There was some contact that was questionable, this and that. And when Brandon spoke on it, I said, if anybody can talk about it, and they say, well, he's a crybaby. Brandon's like, yes, I am. Buy a shirt. Come on, let's go with it.
But I will say, Brandon. So we'll still put you to the back. So just be ready for that. You still get your 25 pounds. If you keep winning, like we said, I've said this 100 times. We love every race car driver that comes and supports us, but you guys are all just as equal when it comes to race directing.
Yeah, if you wreck somebody, you go to bed.
Yeah,
that's just how it
so
works.
whether you get into it or you spin because someone wrecked you, we're all going to the rear. So, but again, I congratulate you on your success. Congratulate you on just again being a good sport about all this, and I hope on the other side he becomes a good sport about it because it started something kind of funny. It was kind of annoying.
And profitable.
And profitable. But we do thank you, Brandon.
Yes, sir. And I'll tell you, if he wants a T-shirt, if he'll reach out to me, I'll give him a free T-shirt.
50% off.
I'll tell you, I'll give it to him for free, man. If he'll wear it, I'll give it to him.
That would be awesome.
I can already sense if this happens and Brandon outruns him, he's going to like have one in the cockpit, sign it, say, "Here's your shirt, by the way. Thank you for everything."
Yeah, like I said, we like I said, we gotta walk a fine line here because it could get weird. But it would be funny though if Brandon actually gave him a T-shirt and he actually wore it, whether it was Victory Lane or second place. Because if he gets the Victory Lane with it on, the stuff he's gonna say could be weird. But it also could create a new T-shirt.
Yeah,
we could start a whole nother T-shirt brand.
Well, I can tell you this: no matter what, at the end of the day, I'm gonna be a crybaby when we leave.
Yeah, like I said, I love it. Like I said, I just didn't.
We got to incorporate a different form of merchandise. Like Pittsburgh has the terrible towels. We need like crying towels, and the whole fan just waved their crying towels when Brandon Johnson comes by.
Coming for the lead.
Wipe our tears. Here's our crying towels.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. All right, Brandon. So go ahead and start looking up how to get towels that say "Crybaby" on it, and you're more welcome to pass them out in the grandstands.
I like that idea better than David Rogers. He said he wants me to get teardrop tattoos every time I get a win.
Well, dang. Now we're talking about murder. Now we're talking about murder. That's a whole different element. We can't bring that into it.
That's a completely different tattoo, man.
This is where we don't want it to get. Do not let it get to that point.
That's a different tattoo. Oh shoot. Yeah, like I said, it's all in fun. Like I said, at the end of the day, I hope the person watching, because I know he's watching, understands that I wasn't a fan of how it was presented. Now it's become somewhat kind of comical, and I hope he embraces the comedy side of it. But I also hope he embraces the idea to come race you and see if he can beat you and see how it goes one for one. And I'm sure you'd say the same thing. Like I said, one race is not doesn't determine or define the season. So if he comes and beats you one time, then I'd come back a second time and see if he beat me twice. Because it might just be an off day. If he beat me 2-3 times, then I can say, all right, you got me. But one win doesn't define, and especially have it mono the season.
Not when you're taking advantage of a rule.
Oh yeah, right. So, anyways, we're kind of speaking to him now on your behalf, Brandon. But again, we thank you for your support. We thank all of our drivers that have continued to support us, but we thank you specifically. Just over the years, you've been a local and been at Florence all the time, and we can't thank you enough for being a part of Florence Motor Speedway.
How about your dad, Mr. Steve? Is he going to come back and race again, too? I saw you guys brought the 2 cars a couple weeks ago.
No, I think he said he's done. He said he wanted to try it. We went out there and practiced one day, and he said, "No, I ain't gonna do it." And then he was like, "Hey, I want to do it," and I was like, "All right." So I got the car ready. I know the car's fast. I run 20 teams with it in that open practice, and I guess he just isn't up on the wheel. He's old, man. He's almost 70 years old. He hadn't raced in 20, 30 years, so he said he's retired.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we all say that.
Yep. Well, I think you and I are definitely probably already at that point as well. But we always talk about passion. Like, it's cool to see people with even if you're older, like I still want to go out there and race. Like Mr. W.C. Bell in Vintage.
Oh yeah.
Like he just I think I can do it. I want to do it again. Like I love the sport. He goes out there and does it.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, I keep saying I'm done, and then I do something dumb. So it's hard. It's like people talk about it all the time. I mean, this is the most addictive drug out there. When you get inside when you get inside that seat, and you take a lap, and you could have been out of it for 20 years. As soon as you make one lap, you're like, all right, I'll do it again. Fine. Like Doc, take Doc for example. I mean, Doc hasn't raced in years. And got in the truck last year, made a couple laps, and then now all of a sudden he's full time racing, trying to run for the championship. So, but anyways, like I said, we love the sport. That's why we keep doing this. That's why you're here. But again, congratulations and thank you for being a good sport on all of what's going on. Hopefully, we kind of can continue that. And like I said, on the other side, I hope he sees it in a good way, in a good light, and we'll see how it plays out. If I had to guess, he's not going to, but it's fine. But thank you, Brandon. Anything you want to say to your sponsors or any last comments you got?
Yeah, I always got to thank my sponsors. We got Aaron's Heritage Transportation. We got C3 Landscaping, Elliott Properties. Obviously, my family and everybody that helps me. Thank you guys for giving us a place to race. Racetracks are getting pretty scarce these days, so got to be thankful for guys like y'all that's keeping it going. And hopefully we can finish this season off strong. And that's about all I can do.
Yeah. Well, we hope so as well, because you can join us on the cruise ship. Have a Michelob Ultra with us, because
or Miller Lite.
Well,
if there's not Miller on the cruise, I'm not going.
I already saw he's drinking Michelob Ultra.
I've seen that too.
But yeah, there it is.
And he already talked junk about my team too. So.
Yeah.
Maybe you might go over to cruise ship. Don't worry, guys. I know you guys think he's a crybaby. I'll take care of this one.
But the cruise ship is top 4, so you can join us. Bring the family. We can go have a good time. I swear that's the thing I keep talking about. That people they want to bring up us not being NASCAR sanctioned. People like Brandon, people like Ricky Locklear, we're going on a cruise ship.
Yeah, tell me when you do that with
5 days.
Pretty unique.
And our banquet is on the last day, coming back from sea or from our last destination. Our cruise ship, our banquet is on the cruise ship.
Yep.
NASCAR never did that for me. So, anyways, I digress, Brandon. But thank you for joining us. Go back to the family, and Brian and I are going to finish off the rest of our episode here on tap, and we'll see you next time.
All right, man. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. All right, welcome back to On Tap. We had a chance to listen to some Brandon Johnson. Brandon spoke his piece on what was... Yeah. Well, actually, and then I might have spoke my piece too, so maybe. I apologize. But no, we had our chance to talk about mini stocks in general, and now with that being said,
by the way, mini stocks.
Hence why we're talking about it is we're moving on to another mini stock interview.
We have a lot of segments here, sponsors. If you're watching, this is a perfect time to get your product out there.
Yep. So this is brought to you. Well, we'll go with some that have helped us.
We'll go. Yeah, go ahead.
We'll go. I was gonna say we'll go to North Industrial Machine.
Oh, I thought we were going beer, but yeah, absolutely, Danny Johnson, North Industrial Machine. Yep.
So we'll take it and we'll make it a segment for now.
Brandon Johnson raced this past week, and somehow I believe Ken Jacqueline told me.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. So we'll go on to the next segment and enjoy an interview here, mini stock driver Adam Fulford Jr. And we'll see you on the other side of On Tap when we get to talk to Adam Fulford Jr. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On Tap. We talked about it. We've got another interview this weekend or this week.
Yep. Mini stocks, man, doubling up with them.
Yeah, we got 2 this time. Adam Fulford Jr. Adam Fulford Jr. A long heritage of Fulfords that have come from Myrtle Beach.
I will say Mike Neff says the Fighting Fulfords, and I like that. That's a good little expression. The Fighting Fulfords.
Yep. But Adam, you come from the bottom and now you're here. So because you had Willie, your grandfather Dub, and your dad Adam, and then you kind of got here recently, and but you've been doing an amazing job as of the last few weeks. So just kind of fill us in on your side.
Man, I got great people behind me first. Hats off to you and Brian, Jacqueline, the officials. I know we only see a small portion of what y'all do. It's greatly appreciated. I tell Brian all the time, we've got some amazing people that help us out. I couldn't do it without my dad, my granddad, my mom, Dexter, um, and then all of our sponsors, of course. Not just for my card, but all the people that between the mini stocks and the super trucks, they help us out a ton, and we're forever grateful. Sunset Pest Control, Quad Marine Welding, Diamond Cleaners, CarQuest and Supply, LNA Tire and Auto. Without those people, we don't race. So we're very fortunate to be able to hold steering wheels and work on the stuff. Speaking of my dad, actually, he's out in the shop working on the engine right now as we speak. That's why I told Jay I needed a few minutes of a heads up because we were out there.
Yeah. So
But
with that being said, though, like I was saying, kind of take us back for like what take us back to how the Fulfords got started and how the Fulfords are here and how you had your chance to slide into a car because, again, Brian and Brian more than me always recognizes that blue and yellow the way it is, but kind of lead us into how you ended up here through your grandfather.
yeah, so my granddad was in Vietnam. He served in Vietnam. And when he got back, he wanted to go racing. So him and his dad, they made it happen. Um, my great grandpa, Willie Martin Fulford Sr., he's kind of founded Fulford Motorsports. And that's what kind of got us started. I know my granddad, he's raced on anything and everything you could possibly imagine. Um, so that's what kind of got started. Then, he had three sons, Willie, my dad, Adam, and then Cale. Willie and Adam, they both wanted to drive cars, and they made that stuff happen. Fortunately, Cale, he didn't get a chance to do that, unfortunately. But and then once I was born, because they were all racing mini stocks, and pretty much when I was a little kid, there's a picture. I'll have to find it, but I just loved being at the racetrack, man. It was fun. The cars were, it was cool to be around the race cars and stuff. Especially at Myrtle Beach. My dad wouldn't let me do it too much, but I'd get in to be in my granddad's car, and he'd come up to the driver's side and pretend that he was door banging me, like somebody else was right there, and we'd come to the start finish line for the win and stuff. That's what really kind of made me want to drive. And then, and not to mention, it's just like you were saying earlier, a long legacy of it. Definitely something to be a part of. It's pretty cool. Third generation driver. Not many people can say that. Not many people can say they've raced against not only their father, not only their grandfather, but their uncle. And I've been very blessed to be able to do all three of those. I beat two of them. The one I haven't beat is racing super trucks. Trying to get a rematch.
Let's be honest though. I don't think it's a good idea for any of us for you to beat your dad because then all of a sudden he owns a mini stock.
I think the fighting Fulfords will be fighting.
Yeah, like your dad would lose his mind if you end up beating him. So he already struggles going head to head with the people he's got that have been doing it for years. If you actually go and beat him, I can only imagine.
It's like a semi-pro. Father Pat, foot in line.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. It would definitely be a mess. But man, it's cool to be able to race against your dad, though. Again, like I said earlier, not a whole lot of people can say that. I know when I first got the chance to drive a race car, unfortunately, my generation manual transmissions pretty much are obsolete. I learned in my granddad's driveway where the shop was, and there's a video on Facebook. Again, we'll have to find it and show everybody else. It's hilarious. And I was like, it's the hardest thing to do. Fast forward, X amount of years later, it's like second nature to me. I still remember the first test I did on Myrtle Beach. Looking back now, I'm like, dude, what were you doing? Like, mash the gas down the straightaway a little bit harder. Come on. We're driving in there a little bit harder in the corner. But we were learning, man. And talking about Myrtle Beach, man, I miss that place a ton.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty intimidating, though. I mean, you were carrying some speed.
Oh, yeah, Myrtle. Especially in a mini stock, I don't think I could do it. Like, Brian and I talked about a while back in one of these podcasts.
The thing we had was in BMWs that time. We were hauling ass in the BMWs.
But you had to drive the shit out of those things back then. And but the one thing that I'll bring up, Adam, is that like you've worked from Myrtle Beach, you've got to Florence, and Brian and I have always been a fan of yours and a fan of the families. But the last few races, man, I'm telling you, if we gave you we almost got to a point in the tower, like, all right, 10 more laps. Like, if we could just add a few more laps, you were coming.
Which, spoiler alert, I will say mini stocks, because you guys have been supporting us all year. Next race, you got 25 laps. We have bumped it up 5.
Yeah, we're just chasing the amount of laps until you can get to the front.
27 laps.
26 laps. 28 laps.
28 and a half. We're going to end it on the back straightaway.
Hey, I'm down for it, but make sure we got the overtime line in the back there. That way, once I hit the lead, then you throw the caution, the race is over.
Yeah, then throw the caution. Yeah, Adam's in the lead. Checkers out. Checkers out.
Yeah, man. That
Well,
one
geez,
race
we don't want to upset Bobby, so we can't do that.
Oh.
So, but 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 when it comes to you, like I'm not trying to be funny. You've actually done a really good job. Like you've learned. It's taken a while, but I know like recently. Watching you is impressive. I mean, like in the mini stocks, I'm telling you right now, like again, joking, mini stocks are probably the toughest division to drive.
But you said one person's name, which nothing against him, but he has like a coalition. Like there's people clearly he's with, and I think Adam, yourself, you have some guys that you rely on. I think the mini stocks is one division that we have. There's a couple groups, but everyone talks and communicates. Where late models, everything's so serious. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sharing my secrets with anybody.
Right.
Where mini stocks, it seems like all you guys are like will tell you a little something that you pick up on. It will only benefit you as well moving forward.
And sorry, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, 100%. I mean, and that's why, I mean, to me, the mini stocks, it's a fun division to race. It is tough, like y'all were saying. I mean, you have to drive the pure piss out of these cars, but they're a blast. Everybody's pretty much racing clean, we're racing hard, but I went back and watched all the broadcasts, and man, I mean, maybe I'm a little bit biased because I raced in that same division, but man, we put on a show this year,
Yeah.
and it's cool to see the car count, staying, above 10, 12, 14. It's good to see that. Um, it's like you're going back to about the laps part. Yeah, when I was running Brandon down that one race, a few more laps. I wish that race had been 25, but yeah, that was the best that car had ever done. And then the very next week I missed it a little bit. And then this last race, I really missed it big time. It was a little bit too tight in qualifying. Should have left it alone, but I didn't. I tried to loosen it up, and it come back and bit me in the butt just a little bit. But you live and you learn. We've made a lot of progress from last season to this season, and then definitely from when I first started. I mean, it's completely night and day difference. And that all goes back to racing around good people and having a lot of help along the way. Um, like I said, we're just very fortunate for it, and need a few more
Yeah.
laps, get the setup down a little bit better, and hopefully we'll be in that winner circle player on this year.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, but that tells you that you're close with the setup because I'm a firm believer. Like once you get that setup close, you have that little circle, and once you miss it that slight little bit, you're like, oh, this is a whole different race car.
Mm-hmm.
That means you're really close.
Yes.
So go back, like just come back to what you did, and you'll be right back in the hunt.
Yep. And the mini stocks though are so much. I think they're more difficult to process because there's so many body styles and there's so many motor combinations. Like late model stocks is, even though they say it's wide open, it's something like it used to be.
Yeah, templates for everything.
Yeah, I mean everything has to be spot on. And when it comes to a mini stock, you can't go buy a fiberglass quarter and change it.
To that point, now you got some mini stocks with late model bodies on them.
Oh yeah,
which is wild.
Right. Yeah, which actually but no, it's been great to watch you come into your own and to see you do so well. And we root you on the entire time. So I know you. So you said your dad's out in the garage right now working on the car. So I'm assuming because I've tried to put this in Owen's ears, is that I'm assuming you can go out and do just as much now before where you couldn't when it comes to working on the car.
Oh yeah, no, I made a lot of improvements. Not just driving, but being able to work on them. When I first started, I'll admit it. I wasn't where I needed to be at. And fast forward, I started making a little bit better decisions. And he always told me races are not really necessarily one. They are one of the racetrack, but it all starts in the shop. Um, Once he finally got that drill through my head, that's when you start seeing the success that you see on the racetrack week in and week out, like y'all were talking about. He's been fighting to miss the last couple of races with his truck. Hopefully we've got it fixed. We'll find out later this weekend. But again, it goes back to having good people around you. I've learned a lot from him and my granddad and my uncle. They've got gobs of knowledge, when it comes to those cars. And then, like you say, you get behind, Brandon Johnson, you get behind. If AJ Sanders comes down or stuff like that, you watch them and you see what they're doing. How are they, pulling you down the straightaways or in the corners, and then you just start fine tuning from there. I mean, half a tenth here, half a tenth there. That's 1/10 in one lap. You times that by 20, and there's your gap that you can't seem to close down. So it's been a tough division this year. I'll find a tenth or two here, and it's like so does everybody else. And I'm like, damn. But that's what makes it fun. Brian, I'm sure you've been there. Steve, I know you've been there. Y'all get what it's like. It sucks when you don't run as good as you want to, but at the same time, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Oh yeah.
And the
I'll
challenge is
give
what
you
makes
that.
it fun, man.
Sorry, I was gonna say the one thing I was looking at. So to what you just said, that's the one thing I took from my dad is if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But I'm looking down here at our.
Sorry, one quick thing. Definitely go. Adam, you got to tell a little bit about your situation because like you guys are, and I was the same way when I ran late models. Like you're truly a blue collar racer where your shop's not in a whole different location. Like it's right behind your house, but I don't think everybody knows that the neighbor that you guys have to battle when you are dealing with that shop. You sent me a picture one time. I was like, where is that at? He's like, oh, that's in between me and the shop right now. What was that thing?
Man, I can't even remember honestly.
It's like Gators, like Lake Placid.
Oh yeah. So that was at my granddad's shop. There was I think it was a 10 or 11, maybe a 12-foot gator. I can't remember how long it was exactly. My iris will decided to reset. Sorry about that. But yeah, it was laying out there. It had been at the storm retention pond at the Dollar General beside the house. We knew it was out there, and Granddad went out there one day to go to the shop, as a matter of fact, and the alligator was just chilling.
I mean, that's the memories that we'll have at the end of the day. When you're like done racing, you'll say, "Man, remember we were working on it like every night, and then that gator just surprised us." Like that's the things I think there's everybody's taking for granted now.
Oh yeah,
like we got to bring that fun aspect of it back into it.
Yep. I still remember going by going to Terry's shop when your granddad is always picking blueberries on the street. What is that road going to? It's not Evans. What? Anyways, but I drove to Terry's shop, and your granddad was out there picking blueberries on the side of the road.
Yeah, so I think he's on Holden Beach Road, if I'm not mistaken, or it could have
Yep.
been. I can't remember exactly which one, but and like I was saying, that goes back to again. You bring the fun part back into it. I feel like that's also when you start getting better results. I'll be the first to say I'm really hard on myself because I want to be the best I possibly can. But I always have to remember, and thankfully I've got a dad that's willing to remind me of this pretty much every day. You got to make sure you're having fun with it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to succeed. If you're constantly down and ill and mad about how you run, it's just going to get worse and worse. And I've seen that not only with racing, but with bowling also. When I finally relax and you just start getting the groove of things and having fun, my scores get better and I can actually pick up a 10 better for once.
Yeah,
that's
just
just
a
how
conversation
that's.
for you two guys. I'll just see my way out here when it comes to
well,
bowling. Now, if it comes to Wii bowling, I'll tune back.
Oh
in,
yeah, Brian's a good
Wii
Wii bowler. But Adam, so let me before we get to actually let's go to bowling first, then I'll go to what I was going to talk about here. Is that you kind of like the mini stock side? You just picked bowling up recently, right? Like you haven't been doing it your entire life. Like you've been doing it the last handful of years, but you haven't been doing it since like day one, right?
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
And this guy, hold on, sorry. This guy did go from getting in free every week to start racing, like at Myrtle Beach. I mean, you were 10 years old forever.
Now he's drinking. Now he's drinking a beer while he's
from
talking
10 years
to us.
old to drinking beer. Like, dude, what are you doing here? I thought you've been 10 for 20 years.
I'll rack y'all's memory for a second. There's a picture of me and Easton Swain. Bobby Summers was still the announcer, and we're given the command. We've still got that poster in the shop right this second.
Oh yeah.
It's insane, how much we've both grown and changed, but like we haven't. In a nutshell, we're still around racing, and I think that's what's really cool to see. Shout out to him; he's making his debut this weekend in his charger car. So if he's watching, shout out to you, Easton. Good luck. But it's insane, start off to getting free and singing the national anthem, and
Oh yeah.
like I was saying, now we're just sitting here racing and have a good old Miller.
Yep. So what's your average right now in bowling?
Man, this went down a lot. I think I'm having to carry a 192 right this second.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I didn't know. Man, now
What's the handicap outside of yourself? Kidding.
Now I will.
Brian has no idea. Brian literally knows the word handicap, but he has no idea what it actually means.
No. I just know, it fluctuates from people that you're bowling against, right, or something.
Well, not really. Like your handicap is your handicap.
I just know Wii bowling that we had it posted in the office at Myrtle Beach. So you walked in, that's all we really cared about at the end of.
But I will say, sorry.
What you do is you find somebody that's a good bowler, and you get them to. You bring them in a couple weeks beforehand. You tell them just to, bowl as horrible as you can. So what we've been trying to do is get Steve to come down and help us out for a few weeks. Bowl really bad, get like a 140 average, and then pop off, 2 or 3 300s back to back.
Yeah.
So you need Roy Munson with the claw to come in. Got it.
Hey, Steve, I'll give you a proposition. 6 free beers if you do.
Oh, geez. All right, sold. I'll be there. Actually, I still got all my new stuff. I got a whole bag full of new stuff. But the problem is I don't have new shoes because I have to wear my Hey Dudes. But like I said, bowling. I'll say that I've watched Adam's little videos, and bowling is a whole nother sport that takes talent and takes time. Like you can't just show up and start like making it work because you got to hit your marks. Like everything is inches, and it's the oil, and it's just there's so many moving parts. But let me back up because otherwise I'll get caught on bowling. Is what I was gonna talk about is the fact that you made it top 5 for this segment for the Palmetto Clash. You're on to the championship round no matter what. So
as is your dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, your dad's into the super trucks. Right now, it's got Brandon Johnson, Ryan Moore, yourself, Kevin Jackson, and Matt Carter are for sure racing for the championship this year. So what you put in, and I would say to continue, I'm not going to tell you to quit racing, continue to show up and keep get your bonus points. Yep. But right now, man, how does it feel to know that what the effort you've put in to this point, that you have a shot, because the way Brian and I got it built, you have a shot to legitimately win the championship at the end of the year.
Yeah, when we reset on August 2nd, where like typically, Brandon Johnson's had a really good year, that you would be probably, 30, 40, if not more points down. You're going to be within 10 again. So you're right back in the hunt.
Yep.
Yeah, and, it's a good feeling, to see all the hard work they've put in this the first quarter, half of the season. It's good to see, a good result like that. Hats off to y'all for the format and stuff. I mean, y'all definitely went out there and took a chance and tried something different, and I hope it pays off. I think it will. It's definitely interesting, like y'all were saying. And again, it rewards the ones that if they want to go and, if they want to go race somewhere else, that's fine, but they're going to be losing bonus points. Maybe I'm going to still stay at Florence and, try and get that gap as close as I possibly can. In the meantime, we're just going to sit here and, keep doing what we're doing, lock in, and try and get it dialed in for those final 3 races, and hopefully we can go get a championship. But it's nice to see all the hard work finally paying off, and it's more drive and determination to keep at it and do better. That's just all it boils down to.
I just had a premonition in my mind right now that like AJ Sanders coming down, somehow getting in from round 2, and then Little coming at me at the end of the year. That son of a bitch hasn't ran but 3 or 4 times this year, and I lost the championship. I've been here every week. This is the dumbest format ever.
But
I will say the way Bowman Gray's schedule goes, I don't think he'll even be able to make a race.
Yeah, the summer's going to be rough, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I hope you know that in the tower, Brian and I, obviously, we'd put you to the back as quick as we put your dad to the back, or we put Owen to the back. But we are cheering for you the whole time because, you've worked really hard to get to this point and to be as competitive as you are. And I'm telling you right now, like I said, the last couple of races, and we were joking about the extra laps, but, man, if you could just piece together that little piece, you're only inches from a victory. So we're looking forward to it, and I can only imagine, especially now of age, how drunk we're all going to be.
We didn't know that till today.
Yeah, didn't know until you started drinking a beer. And
kids' prices every year just to see when you would start paying. We thought you were just the same age, like Benjamin Button, just aging in reverse.
But no, like I said, we are Adam Fulford Jr. fans. We're Fulford fans in general because you guys have been supporters. The family has been supporter even before Brian and I became Myrtle Beach Speedway people. Your whole family has always been there, and we thank you for that. We're going to be rooting for you, and like I said, if there's anything I can do besides showing up and bowling with you, I'll help you out.
I heard the free beer in bowling, so
I might show up and just watch.
Yeah.
Listen, I was hoping I could get Brian on with that one too. I mean,
so Brian actually,
will travel.
If we had a minute, if I had a minute to teach Brian's a sponge when it comes to learning. Like Brian needs to process. He wants to learn. Like he if you told him he sucked at something, he's going to figure it out. So I took him bowling one time, and he started to process it. If I could actually work on Brian when it comes to his bowling craft, he wouldn't be terrible.
We've said too much.
We've talked about doing like Jacqueline and myself and Tiffany and yourself doing like something at Myrtle Beach, because Myrtle Beach is way cooler than going to Little River or Surfside.
Well, also having into tie-ins with Tony Todd. Now, he's also a really good bowler.
Yeah, Tony Todd's really good. But actually,
I never knew he even bowled until, like I said, I was at that as a Calcutta tournament, and never knew he bowled. Never knew he was, I think, the GM at Little River Lanes, if I'm not mistaken. Never knew any of that. And I think Steve, if I'm not mistaken, some of your buddies with Hawk McCall, I think, are into bowling. If I'm not mistaken, or it might be a
Yeah, some
different
of them
group.
are
I
in.
can't remember.
Yeah, some of them, but anyways, so we're headed in the wrong direction here.
This is not racing no longer. It's not
No,
bowling.
yeah, so I'm telling you, like, anyways, that's where I'm going to stop. But Adam, we're going to end this right now. We're going to just tell you thank you, congratulations on so far a successful season.
In the hunt, man, for the championship.
Yep. So you're already locked in for the end of the year. So you're going to just kind of focus now on getting that championship. And man, how cool would it be for us? Actually, so you'd be on the boat. Adam Fulford could be in the top 3, and you could be on the boat at the banquet on the way home.
Is there a drink package?
Well, yeah, if you want it.
Yeah, you could jump in the ocean and drink as much as you want.
I already bought your ticket. Like you have to buy your.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is this: if somehow I was to pull that off like that night, once we clear tech, we're gonna have to stop the entire event because I'm gonna start doing I think it's a Steve Austin or Stone Cold. I'm gonna start smashing some beers outside the racetrack. That way we don't get in trouble.
No, Adam, you ain't got to win something to do that. You can do it on a nightly basis.
Yeah, we could
That's
do
what we
it.
do.
That's fine.
Well,
But-
I mean,
but-
it's the celebration part, though.
But imagine Adam, imagine like making even just top 3. Like I hope you win it, but I'm saying top 3. You're on the cruise ship with us. We all go to. We got 5 days. We go to our little
I can't
destinations.
put up with Adam for 5 days. Yeah, I'm jumping off myself.
So, but we got 5 days, and then at the banquet, you get to go up and do your speech, and we're on a cruise ship, man. I'm telling you, that is my favorite part about what's happening right now with our deal, is that people are not recognizing the idea that Adam Fulford Jr. has a shot to win or top 3 in the championship, but he also gets to go on a cruise ship, and he gets to celebrate it with all of us, and we get to drink beer together on a boat.
And we've tried to promote the fact, like, go ahead and buy your tickets. If you finish top 3, we'll reimburse you. But still, it could become a cruise ship filled with racers.
How awesome would that be? So, like, you're drinking right now could be on a boat.
Yeah, I mean it would definitely be an interesting sight to see. You know, a cruise ship with a bunch of racers on it. I think that would definitely be a sight to see. And you know, again, like I said earlier in the interview, you know, hats off to you, Brian. You know, everybody that made this deal happen. I think it's definitely, you know, you have growing pains the first time you do anything, but y'all took the constructive criticism and y'all pretty much ran with it. I mean, y'all, if there's an issue, y'all have either fixed it or in the process of fixing it, and you're taking notes, you're listening to, you know, all the drivers, you know, not just your late model guys, but trucks, Chargers, mini stocks. I mean, down to Thunder, Lightning, and Bandoleros. Like y'all listen to everybody, and y'all taking that feedback and putting it back into the racetrack. I mean, that's what it takes to be successful. Steve, Brian, I think y'all are a fantastic team. Y'all definitely feed off each other, and then y'all got a good group of people around y'all. I'm glad to be able to support y'all, and can't wait to see where all this goes.
No, we appreciate it. So again, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end this now. Adam Fulford Jr. Having a great season, and we appreciate you joining us. Enjoy that Miller Lite. Brian's he's got a refill actually.
Cheers to that.
We actually got to take a break just so Brian can refill. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Adam Fulford Jr. and we're going to come back on the other side of some more On Tap.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right,
Thanks, Adam.
All right, welcome back to On Tap. Had a chance to talk to Adam Fulford Jr. and talk mini stocks. We talked mini stocks all day. We were able to bring in Brandon Johnson from last week because we kind of missed that chance. And talked to Adam Fulford. And I think we talked to Adam about the points and where he's at, and we talked about the points in the Open. But
let me not confuse people too. Like the Brandon Johnson that raced Chargers this past weekend is not the Brandon Johnson that raced
not the same Brandon Johnson.
They are different ones.
Brandon Johnson had the Brandon Johnson in the Chargers had his first race ever.
Yeah, he did good.
Yeah, no, he did. I thought he did a great job.
It's all in one piece, kept it clean. I don't even think he got. I mean, he stayed on the lead lap and everything. Yeah, I thought he did really good.
Yeah, but no, it's been a good show so far. A lot of stuff happening. We came out of Anderson last week. We had Friday at Anderson, Marty Ward Memorial. I thought it went great. The show was awesome. Saturday, we had our show. Sunday, we got some work to do on Carteret still, which we're getting there. And then this week, we go into the Langley launch with Boo and Aaron doing their podcast at Langley. So we're driving up there Friday.
Doing our Kill Tony. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be good. And then we got Southern National on Saturday as well. So nonstop moving parts.
About this past week, let's touch on Anderson a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
11,000 to win. So at some point, we passed the ball back to competitors.
Yeah.
Like we always see chiming in, like grandstand admission. We did that, and it did help us a little bit on that. I mean, grandstand fans did come out.
Yeah.
But I got to pay more money. Got to pay more. 11,000 to win. They had 15
cars. And they, but they also weren't against anything. It wasn't like you could blame it on like a car store event or anything. Yep. And so like when racers want to bitch about, they're not paying enough. The man paid $11,000 to win.
They had a pole award, a halfway leader award.
And then I think it dropped down to like $4,000 or $5,000 for second. And then last was like $500 or $600. Like, I mean, it was a good payout. It is what it is. At this point, I don't even know what to do about it.
Good to see. Obviously, Cade's had success with Marcus Richmond and RNS car, but it was good to see Cade back with Kendall. With AK,
I will say that, so he left, or as soon as it was over, he left because I could see him if you go back and watch the Victory Lane deal he did. So lap 2, he got like a marble in his eye, and it swole up to the point where he couldn't see. So they had to take him to the hospital after the race was over because his eye was swole up. And if you watch it, and then you see him like kind of rubbing his eye, but yeah, he had taken something lap 2, and then the entire race after that, he ran with one eye and still
Cyclops, I think.
Still dominated it. So like I said, and I've said this to whoever's listening, is that Scott and his team at Anderson, they're putting the same work you and I are putting in.
Yep.
And
we have competitors that will always call and say like how many cars are going to be, and they still come out. But how's the fans going to be this week? Because they got their sponsors they want to expose. Anderson Motor Speedway is a place to showcase your sponsors.
Always.
That grandstand attendance, we talked about it last week. We're talking about this week. It's amazing.
I kept walking down and looking, and there was a line out the door. Like I kept walking down. I finally said to Jack, I said, "There's still a line."
I mean, you were so involved, you became the custodian.
Yeah, I had to. But no, it was a cool race. Obviously, you and I are Marty Ward fans, so anything we can do to see, because like at one point when we did the Marty Ward Memorial, and we had our thing, which was what has now become the Cars Tour event.
It was locked in. Yep.
I just wanted to make sure that Marty had a race.
Sure.
That he had a race that kind of kept his name alive.
And
but
they kind of took the torch there. It made perfect sense.
They needed to. That's what I'm saying. Like, that was what I was getting at, is that they needed to be that person. Like, we were just going to do it to make sure his name existed, but they're the people that needed to make his name exist, because that was his track. That's where he passed away, unfortunately.
How about Ryan Howard, too? That was an amazing throwback.
Oh,
just the white 97.
Yep. So, like I said, it was a cool weekend. We didn't have Lakeview this week. We got Lakeview coming up. Ultra Broadcasting, I really think that like a lot of cool stuff's happening with it. So we're gonna keep digging, keep our head down, and keep pushing along.
That vintage car is going to drive that support our way. That vintage car launched.
Oh, geez,
It was very reminiscent of Ed Ray.
Is that like well,
tires are two. Tires are 2 and competitors are 0.
If you
could not hit them tires.
So if you could have had Ed Ray's like we had that vintage car, we would have for sure been in millions of views.
Perfect stunt or something.
So Ed Ray, if you're watching, you remember it. For anyone that was there, Ed Ray got carbon monoxide poisoning. He got carbon monoxide poisoning coming down the backstretch and never lifted. And
everyone knows in big yellow tires.
Yeah, in turn 3.
Pit entrance at Myrtle Beach.
He hit him head on, and that thing went 90 degrees in the air, barrel rolled, and then landed upside down on it. Yeah. And when it landed upside down, everyone went to him, and he was passed out because of the carbon monoxide. And then his boots had left his feet.
Yeah, so when they said I got a story that would knock your socks off or knock your shoes off, he literally had a story that knocked his shoes off.
So Ed Ray does that. So then he goes to the hospital, and the lady at the hospital is like, "Man, that was a big hit." He goes, "Not the worst hit I've ever had." I was like, "Okay," but yeah, but if we could have had that, but the Joe did a good job, because Joe, he'll tell you he was shitting himself trying to watch it, because if you watch the camera when he hits it, he saw it coming And then when it hits the tire, he starts to like shake a little bit because he's like, is this thing coming at me or is like the tire coming at me? Yeah. So he tries to stay with the shot, but he can't quite stay with the shot to make sure he doesn't get hit by a car or tire. But he did a great job of hanging on to it. So right. No, like I said, it's at 30,000 views. I actually think
if you didn't see it, don't look for it on social media. Subscribe to Ultra Broadcast.
Please, if you want to see baby pictures, to subscribe to Ultra Broadcasting also. But
that sounded weird.
Well,
Let's
sorry.
Let's rephrase that a little bit.
So if you want to see baby pictures of Brian and I,
that's equally as weird.
All right, hold on.
You want to see reenactments of babies portraying us? Now the baby seem messed up.
Now the baby seem messed up. Anyways,
they know. Everybody's seen like these Theo Von podcasts and with the baby show. Yeah, that's what we're saying.
I love some Theo Von, but
I don't even know about baby pictures. Probably my head was huge. My head's still huge.
Well, in the video, it's about the same. The
what's your problem?
So, anyways.
All right. We're going Facebook Live, man.
Yeah, we're going Facebook Live. So, thank you for joining us on tap. We'll see you next time. Episode 17 coming up next. Thanks for joining us. What's your problem?